A lot of the belief on the internet is every man after the age of 30s, testosterone will decline by 1% every single year. If you buy into this belief, just because you saw someone on the internet saying it, you're not living the lifestyle, you're caught up in the rat race. Collectively, all of these things are what add to the decline in testosterone. We don't want people to feel bad. So what are we breeding? We're breeding unhealthy young people who could never even hold themselves. We are a byproduct today of the last 10 years of our life. So whatever you're experiencing today in your life is not because of what you did yesterday. It's a byproduct of collectively everything that you've experienced and done to yourself over the last 10 years. What's your next best move? That's all you need to ask yourself.
Hi everyone. This video today is a must-watch for men over 40. So ladies, grab your husbands, your boyfriends, your brothers, and your friends, and get them in front of the screen. Clark Bartram is about to drop some truth bombs about the warning signs of testosterone, practical tips on breaking free from unhealthy habits, and taking control of your well-being. Stick around and discover how to make the best moves for your long-term health and vitality. And remember, it's not just about getting older. It's about the collective impact of choices we make over time.
Every man needs to go get blood work done. Every woman needs to go get blood work done. I think women are better at it than men are because they're just more conscientious about health and things like that. And men sometimes hold the fact that they haven't been to the doctor in a decade or longer as a badge of honor. And they think it's smart when it's really very stupid to do that. So getting on the next keto diet or throwing stuff at a wall and expecting it to stick without knowing really what's going on in your body is just another waste of your time. So if someone's struggling with gaining weight and they're like, I can't figure it out. Well, if you haven't looked at your blood, maybe your cortisol is elevated and you need to get that in check. And then PSA, obviously for reasons, testosterone for men is a big one, free total sex hormone binding globulin, because you need to understand that having a total testosterone, if it's bound up by this thing called sex hormone binding globulin, so it's not free to roam through your body and do what testosterone is meant to do, give you an erection in the morning, give you confidence, help you lose weight, give you all of the energy that you're seeking in life. Talk to your doctor, because here's what's going to happen. Your doctor most likely will say, let's say a guy's 35 years old and he's watching. The doctor's going to go, we don't need to test your testosterone. You're not of the age yet. We don't need to check your PSA. You're not in the guideline yet to where we have taken this collective of all of these basically unhealthy people in our Western culture and put them in a group. And now they're comparing hopefully healthy younger people to a bunch of sicker older people and created these guidelines that don't necessarily apply, in my opinion, to the world that we live in today. The stresses that are thrown at us through interpersonal relationships, business, endocrine disruptors, from the things that we put on our body. There are just so many different factors that need to be considered when we're in there doing these things. So a doctor just, don't worry about it. We're just going to give you the standard stuff. No. I want what I want, and we're going to get what I want, and you're going to educate me on what I need, or this is the education that I received. So these are the things that I am currently asking for. So that, I think more than anything else, is really taking control of your healthcare and understanding that you have the right to push back, slow them down, and say, no, wait, don't leave yet. Mrs. Jones can wait. I need to know. And then that's that. We have this thought that anyone in a white coat with a stethoscope wrapped around their neck is the authority, because they should be speaking with authority. And you are impressed by all of the diplomas that you see on the wall. And you automatically assume, really in our Western culture, because you said something very important, you have the ability to see two different cultures operating. So in our Western culture, we've been conditioned from childhood to believe that this person, male or female, knows. And whatever they say, we do, because they are smarter than we are. But the reality is they are not at all. And you can be as educated as quickly as you need to be on your health. And I'm not saying go Google, do a Google doctor and all of that and get confused. But what I'm saying is be educated on some of the markers with specific to the blood conversation that you should be looking for, specifically and especially if there's something in your bloodline. And they would ask for that typically on the list. Does anyone in your family have heart disease or pre-diabetic or any of that sort of stuff? So then they might lean towards giving you these tests more. But so many of the things the maladies that we suffer in this Western culture are reversible through the principles that I teach: mindset, meals, movement, community, integrity. If you live that way, you can not be a type 2 diabetic. You can get off of high blood pressure medication. You can lose 100 pounds, which will take the pain away from your knees. There's so many things that are reversible that we don't. I'm going to tell you a horrible story. I have a client that I train, and he knew of a girl who was on the verge of gastric bypass surgery. She wasn't heavy enough, and the doctor recommended that she lose weight. She opted to gain more weight so she could be over the threshold so she could get the surgery. How disgusting is that? That someone think, I'm just going to gain another 20 pounds so I can go in, get half of my stomach cut out, and then eat a portion of the food, become malnourished, and probably gain the weight back because there's no discipline that's been exercised to help the doctor justify whether or not you're a good candidate for this procedure. And it's not the doctor's fault. It was this individual's fault. I've been recently diagnosed with prostate cancer. So now I'm on this mission to learn more about cancer, prostate cancer specifically, all of the ways to treat it allopathically and all of the alternative ways to treat it. And I have been bombarded with a bunch of well-minded people who want to give me information that's all anecdotal. But with regard to who do I listen to, you have to do what I know you're going to shake your head up and down and go, yep. You have to listen to your gut, your intuition, what is resonating with you in your soul, regardless of the influx, the fire hydrant of information that will begin to come at you once you've been given any diagnosis, and all of the people who love you in your life. So I found somebody online. I'm like, ooh, I really like what this guy's saying. This is going to be my source. And whatever else I get, on an ancillary level, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, but let this person guide me through this process that can be very confusing, very scary, and a whole host of other things. So that for me has been really what's been my savior. And that works with everything. I just was having that conversation with my son this morning. I'm like, listen to your gut. You know in your gut what's right. My wife will say, ooh, that person in my gut. You know what her gut told you about you? That you're freaking awesome and she loves you.
I love Anita.
I have all of those people in my life who, like I said earlier, are well-meaning, caring, loving me, want the best for me. However, they have been indoctrinated into this belief that if I don't instantly go right away and get a radical prostatectomy, that something horrible is going to happen to me because I waited too long. I didn't take care of it. When the reality is I am definitely doing more than 95% of the men who have been given this diagnosis will do, because I'm looking at the reasons why I got it. I'm uncovering things in my gut, in my blood, I poop, peed, spit, and bled in more containers that I can tell you to give me more data about me than I would ever have known before. So I can start taking care of certain things that may or may not have been the cause, but whenever I do whatever I'm going to do that might be more drastic than what I'm currently doing, I won't have those underlying issues that are still lurking in the background where other people would. So if I cut out my prostate, it doesn't handle the gut issue. It doesn't handle the stress issue. It doesn't handle the chemical exposure issue. So speaking of data mining and blood work and all of that sort of stuff, when I went to my doctor, they data mined every bit of blood I've ever done blood work on from everybody. They have access to it. And they pulled it in. I sat with the doctor. She went back to the early 2000s and we tracked my testosterone. We tracked my cortisol. We tracked all of these different markers in my blood to give us some idea of what might be going on. There's no definitive answer, but it's certainly, we have better direction than someone who wouldn't have that or wouldn't take the time to do that. And I remember one time years ago, I was speaking at an event and they popped up a cover and we had a product that worked on a cellular level. And what I said was, I look great on this magazine cover, but if I were to look inside of me, I don't know if on a cellular level, I look as good as I do on the outside. And
Wow.
the reality was I wasn't, because whatever caused this cancer in my life started, right? We are a byproduct. This is really important right here too now. We are a byproduct today of the last 10 years of our life. So whatever you're experiencing today in your life is not because of what you did yesterday. It's a byproduct of collectively everything that you've experienced and done to yourself over the last 10 years. If we stopped drinking 2 months ago, that doesn't mean that we might not have an effect on our liver. That's why I mentioned you need to look at your enzymes in your liver. Maybe that 10 years collectively and accumulatively has caused the situation, but I'd stopped drinking 2 months ago. Your liver is regenerative, of course, but maybe not that quickly. Maybe there's other things coming in, chemical exposures that are still causing stress on that organ that could clean itself out if you were to do more things right than you're doing wrong.
Yeah, it might be.
I'm pretty sure it's him. He's 102 out there riding on his horse, being an actual, like, real life cowboy, doing what cowboys do at this advanced age. And it's because ultimately the creature comforts that we have in our Western culture are really what have made us lazy. So our culture is 9 to 5. Our culture is couches. Our culture is comfort chairs, and all of these things that we look at as a blessing, which they are, but they can also become a curse if they've made your body adapt to being lazy. So here's the one thing. It's commitment. It's commitment to a program and a process and a belief in a system. This goes beyond get on a treadmill and eat whitefish and asparagus. This goes to the inner soul and making ourselves vibrate. There was a post yesterday about physical gym class in the 60s. It showed guys going up with in the thing, and they were all jacked and ripped. Back when we had the President's Council on Physical Fitness test. That thing's been outlawed, right? Because we don't want to shame anyone. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. We don't want people to feel bad. So what are we breeding? We're breeding unhealthy young people who could never even hold themselves on those poles, let alone take one out and move it into the next hole and make their way up this thing. I always keep this analogy. If there were a zombie apocalypse right now, and there were 3 of us in this room, and I was me, and one guy was, and the 2 other guys were the average guy in America, right? 3/4 of American men are not, they're morbidly obese, right? They're obese. If there were a zombie apocalypse, I wouldn't get eaten. I would be gone. I could jump that fence, run up that hill, throw some rocks, do things to evade this attack, when the other 2 guys would be literally getting eaten by the zombies because they weren't fit enough to get the F out of there. During the pandemic, I got popular on TikTok for something called 3 moves, 3 minutes. I just do 3 exercises for 1 minute each. And all of those are on my YouTube channel. You can go click on it, follow along with those. And I absolutely 100% guarantee that if you follow that consistent, I'm talking 3 minutes a day. And then when you get more conditioned, you do that twice. So that's 6 minutes a day. There's 168 hours in every single week of our life. And all I'm suggesting that you exercise for, with what I just said, if you're a deconditioned person, someone who's, even if you're conditioned, if you do that for 3 minutes a day, so 3 times 7, 21 minutes a week out of 168 hours in a week, I promise you that your body will change. Because what I said earlier, your body's the most adaptive organism on the known universe. When you start doing things, it will adapt to the things that you're doing. It will adapt to you sitting there not doing anything. It will adapt to you eating processed foods. It will adapt to you being lazy. It will adapt to all of that. And it adapts in a way that leads us down a path of being unhealthy. But the beauty is, boom, just like that. And you said, what can I do differently? I love Oprah, and Oprah always says, what's your next best move? That's all you need to ask yourself. What's my next best move with what I'm going to eat? What's my next best move as to whether or not I'm going to get up off the couch and walk? What's the next best move of who I'm going to talk with today? Am I going to gossip or get someone who's going to elevate my game? What's my next best move with my mindset? Am I going to read a book or watch some garbage television, or even watch a better video, or doing something as simple as turning the news off? It's not hard to do any of this stuff at all. If you have to sit in that office space for 5 minutes after everyone leaves and have a conversation with yourself, pull up your shirt, look at your belly, look at your last doctor report, understand what is lurking in the future, and go, yeah, my next best move is to walk right past that and tell everyone who's pressuring me, I'm good, and just continue to walk. Don't even get in the conversation. Just continue to move on. Here's the beauty of it. Misery loves company. So all of those people who are eating the donuts feel the exact same way that person does. And they want one person to stand up and be the voice of reason and go, hey, why don't we not have donuts in here anymore and bring in something healthier instead? They're waiting for someone to rise up out of the muck and the mire of life and be the example of what is possible. But as long as everyone stays in it together, they're happy they're together. It's like a bunch of pigs in mud. I just looked at my shirt, and the answer is clearly on my chest here right now. When people say, what do I do, or how do I do this? The answer is it's within you. It's within you. It's always been within you. And when you understand that, looking to an outside source like a diet or a trainer or something like that, maybe within you, you realize you need a trainer, you realize you need a coach, you realize you need the accountability or whatever it is. So that came from within you because there was a desire within you. There was a need within you. There was a reason, there was a hope, there was all of these things that are within you. And too often we look outside of ourselves when all we need to do is look in. And what I tell people all the time is go look in the mirror. There's a scripture in the Bible that says the eyes are the window to the soul. And I love that because you're looking back at yourself. And if you cannot go into a mirror today and say, I love you, I love me some me, believe it. A lot of the belief on the internet is every man after the age of 30s, testosterone will decline by 1% every single year. So that means by the time you're 60, you're half the man you were at 30. I'm double the man I was at 30. So I'm not in that generalization. Yeah,
How'd you do it?
I did it by lifestyle.
Okay.
So it's lifestyle intervention is the key to that. It's attitude, it's confidence, it's all of the things that testosterone brings. So there's a catch-22 there. If you buy into this belief, just because you saw someone on the internet saying it, you're not living the lifestyle. You're caught up in the rat race. You're under the fluorescent lights from 9 to 5. You're coming home. You're tired. You're sitting on the couch. You're gaining weight. Collectively, all of these things are what add to the decline in testosterone. And the number one thing, in my opinion, being the belief that that's just what's going to happen, because it's like saying, well, after the age of 50, you shouldn't jump a fence and go throw a football in the rain on the football field by yourself when it's getting dark. Where's the law? What says that? That is part of the decline. That is part of the reason, because men buy into, the amount of times that I've been out working with kids, high school, college, Pop Warner age, professional, playing football. Let's say they're a bunch of high school kids whose dads were about my age, and they were standing on the sidelines on that football field, which in my mind, I equate to the sidelines of life. When I'm not on that sideline, I'm on the field and I'm seeing these dads, seeing them judging me like, who's this guy think he is? Look at him out there screaming and yelling and having fun. I'm like, dude, I'm catching a pass from your son. Your son threw me the ball. Your ass should be out here with him right now, not me. It's not my fault. So the amount of men that have been in that position because they believe, I've talked more men off the sideline and say, look, you don't need to run and do what I do, but at least stand at the end of where this ball is going to land and catch it from your son and throw it back to him. I promise you that will raise your testosterone. Absolutely guaranteed. No one can question me on that. Anywhere. You've heard me say that in the DR. No one can question that, because that activity in and of itself will raise a man's testosterone. Facts. So now when you add eating right, so his next best move driving home from that football practice isn't going to McDonald's. It's passing every temptation along the way, going home and making scrambled eggs. The cholesterol in that egg yolk is going to start the cascade of hormones in that man's body to help naturally boost testosterone. See how all this fits together?
Yeah.
And you do these things, and that's what's called lifestyle. But the lifestyle that these men have created based upon conditioned belief has got them in a place where, of course, at the age of 50, you're going to be overweight. You're going to have low testosterone. You're not going to have confidence. You're never going to take your shirt off. You're not going to want to have the light on when you're having sex or even have sex at all or whatever. So these things need to be considered when you are looking at ways to improve, not just willy-nilly going to some strip mall and getting some guy who just opened up a testosterone clinic to shoot you in the butt with some exogenous form of testosterone that shuts your body's natural production down. And that's why guys automatically think if they go get shots that they're suddenly magically going to lose weight. That's not how it works. I don't care what happened to your buddy, any of that. Here's a good way for a guy to measure whether or not he's losing his testosterone. If he doesn't wake up in the morning with a boner, with an erection, he's losing his testosterone. You should be waking up every day with boom. We have this myopic approach to health. If you ever thought about the medical system and how every doctor works in its silo, you have your endocrinologist here. You just simply said it. You have your endocrinologist here. You have your general practitioner. You have your podiatrist. You have your cardiologist. All of these people operate in a silo. Very seldom do they communicate with each other about Jill Collins and your health and what you need and what you should be doing. Hey, I put her on this drug. Make sure you don't put her on that drug because there's a contraindication between these two drugs. Yeah, you got a record and all of that, but who's really looking at it when they have 7 minutes to pull your chart out of a slot in the door? Come in here and satisfy your need to get that thing met. Like, it's not possible. So me now with my diagnosis, and if I choose standard of care, I'm going to make these two doctors talk to each other. So they have a plan for Clark Bartram that's thought out and it's considerate and it's understanding of what the right hand is doing compared to the left hand. I've fired my doctors before. I told them, I said, dude, you're not a good doctor. I don't like you. I'm moving on to somebody else. I'm not being mean. I'm just telling you my truth. This is where I'm at. And the girl was like, really? And I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, why do I need a tetanus shot? I'm not 12. I'd step on a nail. And again, neither one of us has said they're bad or they're doing this any sort of ill intent. It's just the system is really close. But with respect to testosterone, guys can change this naturally through lifestyle intervention, through the 5 principles I teach, believing that it's possible for once. That's mindset. Eating the right food that is going to be conducive. I mentioned an egg in the yolk. Somehow, some way, we've been convinced that a yolk is bad. I don't think so. A yolk is great. There's good cholesterol in there that is the precursor to testosterone production in the body. Then movement. There is certain movements that a man can do. Oh, Clark, I'm too busy. I can teach you compound movements, 3 moves, 3 minutes. You're doing body part things that are integrative, not isolated. Right? I wouldn't tell you just go do bicep curls. I'd tell you to do a deadlift, which is integrative. That's how our body's meant to work. So there are exercises that can be done. Community, I'd mentioned earlier, being around like-minded people is naturally going to raise your testosterone. And then the final one that I don't think people really talk about is integrity. Having a life that is living with integrity. If you're running around lying, cheating, and stealing, that manifests somehow, some way. And typically it manifests in being overweight. It manifests in drinking, doing things, because ultimately at the end of the day, I think we're all good people and we don't want to be operating on that capacity. But when we are, it has to come out somewhere, somehow. So it's going to come out in stress most often. And stress is the #1 killer of testosterone. I've been sitting in about 20 minutes to live. What would I say in this moment right now in my life where I said it would change all the time? Like when they invited me to come to YBL and said, hey, give a message away. I said, I don't know who I'm going to be when I show up there because I'm constantly shedding things. But right now, what I would say to people is, don't let anyone steal your joy. No person on this planet should steal your joy. And if they are, you're allowing them. Don't allow them. And if you need to cut them out of your life, cut them out of your life. And it doesn't need to be a mean exchange. It just needs to be one of, well, I lost their number and I'm not going to have any sort of interaction anymore because I've allowed that person to steal my joy. And then you also said something else that brought something else for me, like more money. I'm not concerned with more money. Because if I'm concerned with more money, I'm not appreciating everything that's currently surrounding me. I got plenty of stuff. I have so much abundance in my life, and looking past all of this for another dollar, like I've literally got dollars. Like I take dollars out of my pocket and throw them in a basket. There's so much money in a basket sitting right here in front of me. And I'm worried about, I see another influencer online talking about millionaire mindset and all of this. That grosses me out. I don't ever want to be that person. Good for them. That's where they're at in their life. But for me, in my life, the next 20 minutes, that ain't going to matter none. So my next best move right now is, when we're done, is to go out and hug and love Anita, appreciate our puppies that are there, eat some good food that's going to take me down a path, take my supplements that are meant to heal my body, jump on the next podcast and do this again, and be grateful for the platform that you've given me. Like, that is it. That's all my life consists of in this moment. And you didn't steal my joy. You added to my joy. And those are the types of people that I want to be around. I need more Jill Collins in my life. I don't need other people in my life who take 1 second of this thing called joy because it's a decision. So there you go. I can buy right now and I'm good.